So guys, remember when we're finding the equation for a tangent line, you need three things. You need an x and a y, and you need a slope. And so for the first one, they were actually nice enough to give you the x and the y. So the only thing that I need is the slope when x is equal to 1. In order for me to find the slope, I have to take the derivative first. So y prime, or the derivative of y, is equal to 3x squared minus 2. And so I'm just going to take that 1 and evaluate my derivative at 1. And so the derivative when x is equal to 1 is also 1. So when you guys are writing it, it's y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. And so my y value is 1. My slope is 1. My x value is 1. And again, just like you guys saw in the notes, we typically just bring this over here. So you get y is equal to 1, x minus 1, minus 1. Okay, same thing for number 2. You have your x and you have your y. Hard to see. So all I need is to find the derivative and then evaluate it at -1. So 3x squared plus 4x. And so I'm just going to plug in -1 into my derivative function to get the slope. So you get y prime is equal to, that's -3 minus 4. So -7 should be the slope at that point. Upside that's +3, so -1. And so then when you write it out, it's y plus 2 is equal to -1 is my x plus 1. And then again, I'm just going to rewrite that 2 over here. Okay, on number 3, so I'm going to take the derivative, and again, I'm going to go ahead and just bring that up as an x to the -2. So y prime is going to be -2 x to the -3, which is really just -2 over x to the third. So when I plug in my y value, which is 2, you get -2 over 2 to the third, which gives me, that's 2 and 8, so -1/4. So when you write your equation, it's y minus 1/4 is equal to -1/4 x minus 2. And so I'm just going to move that 1/4 over. So -1/4 x minus 2 plus 1/4. Alright, last one. So to take the derivative, I'm just going to rewrite this as x to the 1/3. So when you guys are taking the derivative of this, so I have y prime is equal to 1 over 3 times x. And guys, remember that 2/3, if it helps you think about it, it is you're squaring that x and then you're taking cube root. And so when you're evaluating the derivative at -1, okay, it is 1 over 3, and then you're going to square -1, so +1. And when you take a cube root of 1, it's just 1, because 1 times 1 times 1 gives you 1. So that should just give me 1/3. And then when you go to write your function, it's y minus or y plus, because my y value is -1, my slope was a positive 1/3. And then x plus 1 because my x value was negative 1. And then again, we're just going to move that 1 over. So y equals 1/3, x plus 1 minus 1 is your tangent line. Okay, on number 5, you're having to take the derivative first, and then remember a horizontal tangent line just means your slope is equal to 0. So we're essentially going to go through and figure out where does my slope equal 0. So on the first one, the first thing I'm going to do is take the derivative of my function. So I get negative 6x squared minus 12x. And so I'm going to set that equal to 0. So the easiest way to do that is I'm going to just factor out a negative 6x from both because they both have that in common. That just leaves me with an x because negative 6x times x gives you negative 6x squared. This is actually going to be a plus 2 because negative 6x times a positive 2 is how I get back to my 12x. And so when you set both of those equal to 0, and you solve, you get x is equal to 0 and x is equal to negative 2. So that means at x is equal to negative 2 and at x equals 0, you're going to have a horizontal tangent line. You guys only need to do this one. Don't worry about 7 or 8, just do number 6 and you're just unfactoring that one.